Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So here we are. We're halfway through the year, although most of us have lost this half of the year forever. But I did hear that apparently this year won't count as far as age, so you can just pretend that your last birthday didn't happen, because this shouldn't count, should it? As far as age? That's not fair, is it? If we didn't get to actually live it? However, today we're going to be doing the mid-year favourites. I love doing this video instead of June favourites every year because it just really is a good moment halfway through the year to kind of reflect what of the purchases I've made so far am I still loving, what of those monthly favourites products are actually holding up for the mid-year favourites. I'm very particular about what I include in this video. So if it's not a staple, something I'm loving and using all of the time, it's not going to be in here. Doesn't mean I didn't like it, doesn't mean I don't use it and still enjoy it, but I have only included the best of the best, the creme de la creme, the hero products of this year. So I have been very selective. You may be surprised that there's not as many products in here. There's in fact probably not many more products in this video that I feature in my normal monthly favourites because that's how tough I've been. Yes, that's right. No more Mrs. Nice Lady. So to start off this video, this part is very generously and kindly sponsored by Sleep and Glow, who, if you did not watch my video that I did with them a few months ago, they very kindly gifted me this genius pillow. It's kind of because it's so white. It's white. It's not so white. It's just white. It's a regular shade of white. It's kind of hard to show you the genius of this pillow. So this pillow, I will show you an actual picture that might be easier for you to see what's going on here. But this pillow was gifted to me several months ago. It has two purposes or two benefits, key benefits to it. The first is it's specifically designed for side sleepers. I don't know that I would have called myself even a side sleeper previously because I almost slept face down with my neck to the side. Can you imagine what a chiropractor would make of that? I mean, it's a disaster in every way. And obviously when you're sleeping like that, with your full body weight down and then your head to the side, you're really squashed. Your whole face on that side is getting squashed and smushed. So the purpose of this pillow is for people like me who sleep in ridiculous positions that are very bad for their skin and neck and back and body. It is designed to, one, aid with the prevention of sleep wrinkles. So those are the wrinkles caused by that smishing on your face if you aren't an angelic back sleeper. Two, it's actually ergonomically designed to be better for your spine, your neck and head and all of that stuff, so you're fully supported if you're sleeping on your side. It's also designed to sleep on your back as well, so you can be absolutely comfortable and supported if you're on your back or if you're on your side. It has been life-changing. I know you guys have been asking me for an update. It's one of those things that you will either love it or not be able to get used to it because it is different. It feels very different. Your head basically is suspended above this little gap here, and it sort of holds your neck there without your face being pushed, like squished. I think I thought I'd feel very unsupported, it'd be very uncomfortable, but it is heaven. I didn't really take any getting used to it at all. The only thing I took a little while getting used to is to not sleep in that ridiculous lying face or body down position. It kind of forces you to sleep properly on your side or back. And actually, since I got this pillow, as I said in my initial review, I have been more and more sleeping on my back, or certainly sleeping properly on my side. So that has really good benefits to it as well. I will also say to my fellow migraine sufferers, this is the only pillow I've been able to sleep with when I'm in migraine mode, when I'm having a migraine. If I go to bed normally while I'm mid-migraine, I just can't have a pillow. I have to lie without a pillow. But I can actually lie on this pillow when I've got a migraine, and it really helps, and it's really helped with my neck pain as well. And so many of you who picked this pillow up after my initial review have fed back to me how much you've loved it. So I will link it down below. They've given us a little bit of a discount, so I can only thank Sleep and Glow so much for, one, gifting me this pillow, and two, sponsoring this video for me so I can share the joy with you guys. So now on to the makeups. I'm not even sure what order to go in here. I guess I'm going to start with complexion products because there's probably the least of those, which is surprising. I guess last year was the year of foundation and this year not so much. This year seems to be the year of eyeshadow palettes and mascaras, I guess. So for the foundations this year that have stuck out to me, that I have loved, that have become daily wear holy grail status, of which there are two: the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Soft Radiance Foundation and the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue. I knew I was never going to get through that without a mistake. Hydra Rescue Moisturizing Makeup. So these are the two foundations that have really stood out for me this year. They've become absolute favourites. I raved about both of them. Well, I don't think I've actually reviewed this one, but I have used it. Am I blurry? No. No? No. Am I? I don't think I actually did like a full-on review with this one because I was quite late to the game to purchase it because I really didn't want to. It's so expensive. I didn't want to like it. I didn't want to buy it. I didn't want to have to tell you that it was any good, okay? But then it went on offer on, I think it was House of Fraser. They had like a sale where it was reduced by like 10% and then there was an extra 20% off or something, and so I did get a really good deal, but it was still very expensive and I was still hoping very much that I was never going to have to purchase it again. Oh dear, that obviously wasn't going to happen, was it? This has become my holy grail. The foundation I'm wearing today, I absolutely adore it. I no longer feel bad about how expensive it is because I truly believe it's one of those products that is absolutely worth it. It's special. To me, it's so beautiful. It wears incredibly well. It's the perfect finish. It's the perfect level of coverage. I just love everything about it. It's my number one holy grail. Bar none. The Estee Lauder, I really love it. It's got a lot of similarities as far as finish and coverage and things like that to the Tom Ford, but I've said it multiple times, it's not as flattering on my forehead lines as the Tom Ford. That's the only thing that I wish. I also wish it had a few more shades. It doesn't have the same range as, say, the Double Wear. I wish it did because I struggle a little bit with the shades of this foundation without that range that, say, Double Wear has. But yeah, if it was perfect on my forehead, I may never have had to try the Tom Ford and none of this would have happened. So, you know, it's your fault, Estee Lauder. Don't blame me, blame Estee Lauder, okay? I better not be out of focus. I better not be. I'm going to be fuming with you. Don't play me like a fool, camera. Do not do it. So next up, there were also two concealers that became my number 1 and 2 of all time. And it was the Hourglass Vanish Concealer and the Pat McGrath Concealer. I think this is the one I have on today, the Pat McGrath Concealer. I feel like maybe the Pat McGrath edges it slightly by a hair when comparing these two, but they are almost identical. They are full coverage, they are very smooth, they are a natural finish, they don't need a lot of product. I love the wands of both of them. The Hourglass has more of a sort of curved type of doe foot on the end. The Pat McGrath, maybe this is the reason why this slightly edges it for me, because it has a very precise little tip there. I don't know what I'm doing or if it's helpful whatsoever, is it, Charlotte? But it has, you just have to take my word for it. It has a very precise tip that I find perfect for going down the bridge of the nose, getting right into the inner corners, etc. So I think that's probably why it just slightly edges it for me, but I absolutely love them and it's also a really good price. It is smaller, it's not tiny, it's 5 mils. So it is smaller, I think the standard is like 6 mils, this one is 6 mils. So it is smaller, but the price is amazing. So, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, I love them both. They're both exactly what I've been looking for. I've never quite managed to get a perfect concealer before. I love the Shiseido, but the applicator was a little bulbous, if you will. The Estee Lauder, I love that one, but the Dover is bizarrely hard on that one and very, very large. So again, hard to get down into precise areas. What other concealers did I like before those came along? From this day forward, these are the only two concealers that I really am ever using under my eyes. I love them. They wear amazingly well. And yeah, they're my holy grails, 1 and 2. What a good year for complexion products so far. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. It's 100 degrees in here. I'm already sweating. My hair's already sticking to my forehead. It's a disaster. And the last complexion or base products is the Pat McGrath little bitty under eye, what's it called? Blurring under eye powder. I didn't like this at first. Well, I say I didn't like it. I didn't love it. It was just okay for me. I was a bit confused by it. I felt like it wasn't really setting as effectively and it looked quite heavy on my under eye. That was when I was using my brush that I previously had used with like my Huda, or I was using my sponge or whatever. And then I started using this with my Sonia G Detail Pro, which is a very fluffy, soft, teeny brush. And I've never looked back. I've barely used my Huda powder since I discovered that combo. I guess it just applies a lot less of this powder. Less is definitely more with this powder. So use a tiny, tiny amount. I start off like down here around the nose and then sort of move up to my under eye so that the least amount of product goes in my lines, and then I love it. Very, very smoothing and blurring and just perfect. Nothing creases, it doesn't look heavy, it doesn't age my under eyes, it's just perfect. And again, really affordable for Pat McGrath. It is a teeny tiny because it's, you know, mainly for your under eye, but it is a really good price, and it's certainly not, I mean, I've been using it a lot and doesn't really look like I'm making much of a dent, so I don't think it's gonna, you know, run out in a week or anything like that. So I have a couple of random products that are like the only ones in their category, so let's do those before they roll off the table. You know, it's a crowded little table down there. First up, Patrick Tarz Shaping Wax. I got the tinted shade and I reviewed this when it first came out. One thing I want to say, this is all an absolute mess because I just used it and it's all wet from where I sprayed my setting spray in there. One thing I will say about this is that someone asked me when I reviewed it, was the product coming away from the packaging? Because apparently people were saying that was happening, and at the time I said no, it's not doing that, but I had only used it a couple of times and it is now doing that. So I'll just show you what I mean. Can you see that, where it's just kind of lifting away from the edge of the pan? It's not actually caused me any problems doing that. It's not like it's falling out or anything like that, but it is just something I wanted to say. I had noticed that happening, that it's kind of, you know, like shrinking a little bit, I guess, as you spray it. So this is a shaping wax. It's, if you're familiar with soap brows, it's designed to do the same job as soap brows. Fluff your brows up, give you this lovely fluffy brow and hold it in place. It was the first product of that type that I've ever tried, and I got the tinted shade, so it does give my brows a nice tint to them and just kind of help them match my hair, because my hair is very dark and my brows, they're not light, but they are a lot lighter than the shade I dye my hair, so they definitely are much lighter than my hair, so I do like a bit of a tint, and this is perfect for that, rather than going through with a pencil, you know, and trying to colour your brows in. This does the job much more naturally. I love it. I haven't had any issues with it. It keeps my brows in place all day. I absolutely adore this. I've had much more success with this kind of holding my brows up and fluffy and defined and natural than I have with any gel that I've used. So I've really been enjoying that. I am transformed. That's my new go-to when it comes to brows. One mascara this year that has stood out for me, has rocked my world, the mascara I have on today, and this is the Huda Beauty Legit Lashes. It is the double-ended one, so you have a side that is for volume and a side that is for curl and length, with two different formulas and two different wands. This is like a very flexible, bristly, like rubber bristled brush, and on the other side it's a more firm kind of comb type brush, and I believe this side is like a fibre. This is the curl and length side. This side is like a fibre mascara. I didn't necessarily notice that when I was doing the review. I couldn't see that in the information anywhere, but I have noticed it since, that you do get You can sometimes see the fibres on the wand, or you know, you might get some on your lashes. It's very, very dramatic. It gives me big, bold lashes. I've had this now for, I think, 3 weeks maybe, and it hasn't sort of lost its performance, which some mascaras, you know, they go bad, they go off, they lose their performance very quickly. This hasn't done that. It's been 3 weeks and it's still as good as the day it was born. It's a very nice mascara. Lots of people again ask me if I prefer it to my Lancome Monsieur Big or my Pat McGrath. Those are my two holy grail mascaras. This one I would say is in third. I don't like it as much as those two, but yeah, it's definitely up there. It's a very nice mascara. It is very pricey because you get the two options, but yeah, it's a very nice, very, very lifted, curled, big volume drama type of lash. So if you're down for that kind of thing, I don't think you'll be disappointed. And last on the kind of standing on its own category, the Pillow Talk eyeliner from Charlotte Tilbury. This really changed my makeup game. It made me love a wing again. It did. It's just so easy. This formula is so soft. You know, the colour of it is just such a beautiful, easy burgundy. I really just am tempted to do a little baby wing flick with like every eye look these days. I just think it really finishes the look so nicely, and I don't have anything like this. I really hope this stays in stock because I know it's supposed to be limited edition, but I need it. I need it forever. So I really hope it stays. But yeah, as far as eyeliners, I don't get excited about them, but this one is, I do. I just love it. So now let's move on to cheek products, and one bronzer just came along this year and just smashed it out the park. I really wasn't in the market for like a new holy grail bronzer. I was set. My Marc Jacobs Tantalize, it was like, that's my bronzer, that's my guy. We're gonna stick together, we're gonna stay together. But as I've told you before, I'm a really bad makeup girlfriend. I just, you know, dump products left and right. When a better one comes along, a shinier, newer one, I'm like, bye, see you later, Mark, sorry about it. And the bronzer that did that for me this year was the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush bronzer. Yes, I got my name right. Woo! This is the shade Tan. This is the bronzer I have on today. I adore this bronzer. It's just the perfect tone, finish bronzer. I like it. It's lovely. Okay, you get a huge amount. It's a huge bronzer. This packaging is glorious. I love everything about it. It is a matte bronzer, as is the Marc Jacobs. These are the kind of bronzers that really changed how I do my makeup. I always used to go for a glowy, luminous bronzer, but when I like a glowy, luminous foundation, and I like highlight, and I like luminous blushes, I've learned that it's better for me, or I prefer a matte bronzer, because it just gives a bit of balance and a bit of dimension to everything being glowy instead. It's the perfect shade for me. I love that it's so buildable, so blendable, and so easy to use to get as much or as little bronze as I want, so that I can use this in summer or winter. I can use this when I'm going full glam, or if I'm just wanting a natural hint of a bronze. It's not too warm, it's not too cool, it's very soft. Look how much you can pick up. It's very easy to work with, but you can see again with that swatch, see how heavy that swatch and how lightly you can blend it out, and you can just really, it's so customizable. You can build and build and build, or you can just have a very light, natural look. It's just my absolute favorite bronzer. There's no going back. I wish it smelled like coconuts, like the Marc Jacobs. That's the one thing that still makes me go back to my Tantalize every now and then, because I love the smell of coconut. But yeah, you know, you can't have everything all the time. Next up, a highlight, probably the only single highlight that I have been obsessed with this year, and this is the YSL Touche Eclat 3D All Over Glow. I always put my hand here now because one time I didn't. I think it was my champagne pop from Becca and it just fell out, and I'm scarred for life now. So I'm like always, it's never fallen out before, but you just don't know, you just can't be too safe. It could happen at any time, guys. Be smart, okay? Be ready. So this is, oh, the smell. Oh, it smells lovely. This is the, I think it's called the 3D Radiance Shaper or something like that in the US, but it's got this gorgeous pearl packaging. It's the most subtle, soft, grown-up highlight. If that's sounds like your bag, you want something that's going to melt into the skin. It's going to just look like a glow from within. This is the one I go for. I think I will much prefer this in winter than I do now because it's a little too light. I know it says it's universal, but there's no such thing, guys. I hate to break it to you, makeup brands. No such thing as a universal, unless it's a primer, okay? I'll give you that, or a mascara, I'll give you that one, all right? Everything else, nothing is universal, okay? So yeah, it's very beautiful, very natural, very easy, the perfect, I mean, I just blended it out there and you just, looks like I moisturised my hand, you know? It's just, oh, so pretty. But I would say medium and lighter skin tones. I think any deeper than that and you might have a little bit of a cast or something like that. Now for what I've got on my cheeks today, probably, oh, is this dramatic to say? No, I'm not gonna say it, can I? Should I? I was nearly gonna say this is like my #1 product of the year, but there's one other. Oh, there's two others. No, I can't say it. I can't say it. It's in my top 3. It's in my top 3 products of the year. I'll tell you what the others are. But this is the Chante Radiance Chic Cheek and Highlight Duo. She did it. She did it. And that is a tongue twister. You try and say that really, really fast, okay? Radiance Chic Cheek and Highlight Duo. She did it. I'm wasted here. I got this in the shade Coral after much persuasion from you guys. I talked about this in a Will I Buy It and I thought it looks glorious. It really does look glorious. It looks like it's right on my street, but I was very hesitant because I didn't think it was going to show up on me. I thought it was going to be too light for my skin tone. I wasn't familiar with Chante's products, so I didn't know how pigmented they were or weren't, and I guess my presumption was that they might be very, very natural and soft and subtle, which they are, but it absolutely, as you can see, does show up on me. So this is the highlight and the blush from this duo on my cheeks right now, and I'm obsessed. It's glorious. Forget about the stunning packaging with the manta ray. This whole collection was to highlight the dangers to our ocean wildlife and the importance of looking after our oceans and glorious creatures like this stunning manta ray. I actually saw a manta ray in the wild one time and it's just mind-blowing. They really are. I think the other animal is a whale shark. Again, just glorious animals. So I love that. The product inside, I mean, packaging is nice and it does kind of push us and, you know, persuade us to purchase products, but the product inside has to live up to it, otherwise it's going to feel disappointing. If you get something glorious and beautiful and then you open it and the product is so-so, it's always going to seem disappointing, isn't it? Because you want everything to live up to what's on the outside, and it so does. It's just heavenly. It's beautiful, this palette. Both of these shades are just perfect for my skin tone. They're so buildable. You can make it so soft. I mean, see how soft that highlight is, but you can see I've really built it up today, and it can be super glowy, but it really doesn't add any texture. It stays so smooth and like wet, glowy looking, which is just my dream of a highlight. It may be my favorite highlight ever. And the same with the blush. You know, I'd have to use a heavy hand and build this up in my summer skin, but oh, it's perfection. A slight luminous, natural, healthy glow to the cheeks. This palette, it's just, I have no regrets. I would buy 3 more. I think it's limited edition, which is terrifying, but yeah, no regrets whatsoever. I think if you have fairer skin, you may prefer the pink palette to the coral because the highlight may be too deep for you. Any deeper than me, I don't think either is going to work for you, so it would have been really nice to have had a third option in there for deeper skin tones. And I know Chante, who did the live with, I think it was Kinky Sweat, did a live with the CEO from Chante, and they were talking about how that's a priority for them. So I really want to see greater shade ranges coming from that brand. That's really good that they're working on that. So next up in the cheek products are these two Patrick Tar blush duos that I picked up. I did review these, so if you want to see that, you can check that out. This is the shade She's So LA, and this is my favourite. I feel like it's quite unusual. Like, I don't think I have anything like this in my collection. I wore this the other day and I just loved how my makeup looked. It's so summer perfect, these shades, these bronzy, gorgeous shades. So this is the powder, and I've just done a little bit of the cream swatch down there, but it is just, I love both of these formulas. I love the fact that you can layer them or use them on their own. I think Patrick knocked out of the park with these. I haven't used this one. This is Do We Know Her since the review, because I've been obsessed with She's So LA, and to be fair, that was only a few days ago. But yeah, these are fairly new to my collection, but I had to include them because I'm in love. I absolutely love them. This one really surprised me. I thought this powder wasn't going to show up on my skin because it looks so light in the pan, but as you can see, it's much more pigmented than it looks in the pan. And the cream, look at that cream blush there. I mean, tell me about it. Again, layered, just glorious. I love, you've got so many options. You can go for a more matte or dew it up. You can go cream or blush. Cream or blush? They're both blush, love. Calm down. Cream or powder, or you can layer both. I love them. I think Patrick, just everything he does is, and these are no exception. Now I have two cheek palettes. One is the Natasha-Nonna Love Glow palette. This packaging, she flipping knocked out of the park, didn't she? I love these cheek palettes. I think they are amazing. They're glorious. I love them. This highlight, this Glow Impact powder, I pray to the makeup gods that she brings this out as a single, because this is like possibly my favorite formula when it comes to highlight. I think it's so wet and glowy but smooth. It's beautiful. I'm obsessed with this one, and there's another shade in her tan palette, and again, it's my favorite from the whole palette. This Super Glow, that, you know, it's very pigmented there, very stupid beautiful corally pink shade. When you blend this out on the cheek, it's so pretty. This whole palette works gloriously together. I know I've said I'm not a huge fan of the diamond powder. I use it very lightly because it is so sparkly, and that's not really my thing when it comes to highlights. Very glittery. But the others, oh my goodness, I love them. I just think they're a joy to use. And that Glow Impact powder, please, for goodness sakes, bring it out as a single because I love it. And I think also the Super Glow shades, you know, they're really lacking in her Super Glow range. I think she has 3. Is there only 3? And then she's got these gorgeous Super Glow shades in her palettes that I really wish she'd release as singles, because I think they are beautiful and would really, really help people with especially deeper skin. And she's got those gorgeous shades sitting in her tan palette and in her new palette as well. There's a gorgeous shade of Glow Impact and Super Glow that I think would be perfect singles for people who perhaps aren't catered for in her standalone singles. So now, this is a product I haven't spoken about on my channel. I only ordered this like 2 weeks ago, and from the moment it arrived, it blew my mind. I can't even speak. That's how excited I am to tell you about this. I can't even get my words out. So I ordered this. It's been very long and late coming to the UK. It's been out in the US 4 months. It's just arrived on the Nars UK website. It doesn't seem to be anywhere else that stocks Nars, just on their own website, or it was when I ordered this. They were having their friends and family 20% off sale. I saw it on there. I watched a couple of reviews. I think Mel reviewed it, and it may have been Michelle. I'm not sure. There was a couple of reviews and I was like, right, that's it. I'm getting it. I'm having it. I want it. I need it. And this is the Nars Hotfix cheek palette. It's my first cheek or face palette from Nars. I did expect it to be good because it's all my tones, like these bronzy tones. I think this highlighter looked like it was going to be a nice shade for my skin. I did expect to like it. Obviously, I wouldn't have bought it otherwise, but I did not expect to have my world rocked. Let's just say that. So these are the shades. I mean, again, I feel like on my hand they look very, you know, fine. They're fine. They are just so beautiful. The formula of these blushes in here. I mean, I've always loved NARS blushes, to be fair. I have always loved them. But I think whenever I normally see their palettes, there's always one or two I'm not going to use. They usually have, you know, some highlights in there that I'm not going to use. I think, I'm trying to think of the Overlust palette that everybody raved about. It had, I think, 3 highlights and 3 blushes, and I thought I'm not really going to use those highlights. They're kind of too much, you know, for me, NARS highlights. So if there's 3 in a palette, that's half the palette I'm not going to use. They are expensive. The packaging is glorious. I think every other palette they've brought out, there's always been a couple of shades where I'm not going to use those 2, so it's not worth it. This one, everything in there I'm going to use all of the time. It's just, it was my time for a NARS palette, I guess. They finally bought one out especially for me, and I just love it. It's my favourite ever cheek palette, and that is saying something if you know me and cheek palettes. I adore it. There's not a dud in there. I love every single shade. I'm just wanting to wear it all of the time. The highlight is glorious. It's very metallic, so it is a bit more out there than I'm used to, but it's very easy to blend in and tone it down and use lightly as well. I love that there's a glowy blush in here, so you've got some options. I will just mix my blush brush across all 3 and just go nuts, because that's just me. I'm just crazy, you know. I'm wild. But I can't recommend it highly enough. And if that sale is still on, I will link down below. But it was 20% off, which is a really good deal for a cheek palette, because that adds up to a decent little discount. So let's move on to eyeshadow palettes. So I have 4. Again, I've been cutthroat. I haven't included every one that I've liked. I've only included the utter loves. So let's start off with Love. I love it. You know, I just really like this palette. This is very colourful for me, but it's colourful. It's my shades, as you can see. This is not the palette I have on my eyes. That's another one of these. But this is my tones. If I'm going to do colour, these are the colours I'm doing. And it's just got everything. I think the mattes in here are just her best mattes. There's some great options. There's some beautiful, pretty, soft, girly, flirty options, and then you've got this bad boy over here, like, hello, feeling naughty, whack this one on. I just love that everything in here works so beautifully. It's just so pretty, makes me happy, you know. This palette, it really makes me happy. It does, I can't lie to you. Next up, a diddy little number, also from Natasha-Nonna. This is the Mini Glam. Can't tell you how joyous it makes me that the minis are now available in the UK. No idea why retro was so slow to get here. It briefly popped up on Feel Unique last week or the week before, and then sold out in about 5 minutes, and apparently is soon coming to Cult Beauty. Sorry, that reminded me of Colty from 90 Day Fiancé, and that's not a good memory. But yeah, I'm very glad that these are here. I wish they'd come quicker. I wish Natasha would stop releasing stuff a month earlier in the US before that we get them in the UK, but at least they're here now. This is just, I mean, you can look at it, it looks boring as all hell, doesn't it? Very boring, but necessary, you know? Like, I needed something like this size of palette that's got everything in there. It's got my inner corner, it's got my 2 mattes, it's got my darker lid shade, it's got my lighter lid options, it's got a smoke shade, it's got everything that you could possibly want in a teeny tiny little package, which is really a helpful addition to my collection, because I really didn't have anything that you could just, you know, pop in. I was going to say pop in a handbag, but I don't know why you'd need to. Well, I guess maybe if you're going out after work or something. So yeah, you can pop it in a handbag, but also just travel with, take on holiday. I love it. It's just the perfect. People have asked me for a tutorial with this. I don't know if I've ever done one. But I mean, you can't really go wrong. It literally tells you what to do. You've only got 2 matte options. You've got to start with the light and then go in with the dark. And then you just pick a lid shade. You can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. It does the idea for you. Next up, one of my ultimate favourite everyday palettes came out this year. And this is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Instant Eye palette. I love it. I just feel it's the easiest, like softer day makeup that you could wish for. It's a dream. Everything in here is much richer than it looks. I always go on about this because it still surprises me to this day. But you get a shade like this that looks like it's not even going to show up on me, this lightest shade. And it's so much more pigmented than it looks in the pan. It's amazing. This one, this shade here, very, very light. It's not, it's richer and they blend so nicely. This is my first ever full size or larger Charlotte Tilbury palette and I was pleasantly shocked, not even surprised, but shocked at how much I love it. It's just very, very easy. If I don't want to think and I'm going to whack on a pretty day look, this is like, you can't go wrong. I love it. Again, not a shade in here that I wouldn't use every day of the week, even a Sunday. There, I said it. And lastly, but by no means leastly, the palette that's on my eyes right now, the Pat McGrath Mothership 8, is it? Who knows anymore? Divine Rose 2. Now, I will say, getting this palette was a nightmare, a living hell, some would say. But the actual palette itself, a joy, a delight. Like, I mean, it's a good job I did love it, because not that it would ever make it, my experience, worth it. I don't think anything's worth it, but I love it. It's perfect. I mean, I've only had it probably a couple of weeks and I'm just still, every time I use it, surprised by how stunning it is. This shade up here is really becoming a favorite. I feel like this is underrated. It's a much lighter than it looks. It looks quite dark in the pan, but it's a lovely, bright shade and it's so stunning, so pretty. I'm loving that one. Again, this cream looking shade up here is actually deceptively pink. And again, looks stunning on the lid as a lid shade. I got it in the centre of my lids today. Sexy. You're welcome. I think, again, like most of Pat's palettes, you really need to get in there and play with it and get to know them to really appreciate them. It's just stunning. It's a masterpiece. And yeah, I'm very, very grateful it actually arrived. And last but not least, we're doing lips. So let's start with the ones that I've had the longest. I almost forgot about this. This is the Duochrome lip gloss from Natasha's Love collection. This is the shade Coral, and it's one of, that's made a mess, hasn't it? It's one of, if not the only glittery lip gloss I've ever really loved. It smells divine, very minty. It has that tingly, plumping sensation. It's so pretty. The shift on this, it's glorious. I love it. It does feel a little gritty on the lips, so if you hate that, you won't love it. If you hate the minty, tingly feeling and smell, you won't love it. But I really love that gloss. It's perfect sort of spring gloss. This is the lip that I have on today. This is from the MAC Bronze collection and it's the shade Cannes Dew. Little top up there because I've been quaffing my coffee down, so it had no chance. I liked that whole collection. I really appreciated that they did something new with the highlights, the eyeshadows, you know, their eyeshadows, we've seen them a million times. The bronzers were just okay, but this lip has definitely, for me, my favorite bit of that collection. I don't really use liquid or cream highlighters, so I haven't found myself still really reaching for that one out of that collection, but it was very, very pretty, don't get me wrong. But this for me was the product out of that collection that has survived and that has made it into kind of my regular go-to daily makeup area or zone, if you will. Really love that. The packaging is super pretty, but the shade, it's just the perfect kind of sheer, corally, you know, orangey, whack it on, no worries, feels hydrating, nice and luminous on the lips, juicy, if you will. Next up, I'm kind of going in order of which these products arrived to my house. The Jimmy Choo lipsticks, my God. I mean, the packaging alone, I just die, but the lipstick is insane. It's so gorgeous. Again, I mean, the pigment in here, that was like 2 swipes. Do you see that? Do you see it? it's so luxurious and unnecessary, but I just love a little bit of unnecessities. Never mind, I love it. You know, also if you had this in your handbag and you were in danger, definitely reach for this because it's weighty, I'll tell you that. I absolutely love this lipstick. It's special and I have no regrets. Next up, you can see the theme here. I should have known, quite honestly. We are talking about me here. This is the Patrick Ta She's Not From Here, and of course it's an orange lipstick. I just love them. I can't get enough, all right? So this was again from the same collection with his blush duos. It's this shade here, very similar, but the Patrick Ta is much more matte and the Jimmy Choo is more of a luminous finish. So they are different. Don't try to tell me otherwise, okay? So there you go. I really wanted this kind of shade in a more matte formula because it's just nice to have options, you know, and it is perfect. Again, the pigment, I love everything about it. The packaging, it's, I'm sure, going to be a favourite. I prefer glowy, luminous, glossy lips in the day, and in the evening more matte because generally I'm going to be eating a lot and I'd like my lipstick to stay on my lips. I really found this one has great staying power, so you know, if like me you're constantly eating, I'm sure you'll appreciate that. And last but not least, because these are the most recent to my collection, these are the Fenty Beauty Slip Shines, I think they're called. I have Tang Thang and Bubble Rum, which is not orange, but you know, Tang Thang is, okay? But you know, I had one that wasn't, so that's enough. These are brand new to my collection. As soon as I saw these coming out, I thought I need them. They reminded me of MAC's, what are they called? MAC's Lip Tensities. There we go, she's nailed it. Lip Tensity lipsticks that were sadly and horrifyingly discontinued last year. Those sort of lip balm with colour, with kapow, and not just a sheer tint, but like some actual, you know, some decent colour. This is Tang Thang and Bubble Rum. I've just been literally dying over these. I just adore them. I love this cute packaging. These, they have a lovely, just sort of, is it a vanilla, I think, scent? Very, very light. Only just can discern it, but they're so hydrating. These are my go-to handbag lipsticks now. Lip Tensities by MAC. Long, R.I.P. Long may you rest in peace. But these, and then my Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks, what they call superstar lipsticks, these are the same category as that. They're so hydrating, so easy to wear. I wore Bubble Rum out for a day with my kids the other week. It's just so easy. Just, you know, reapply. You don't need a mirror, just whack it back on. Your lips stay hydrated all day. When they first arrived, I applied them just because, you know, I obviously needed to see them on immediately. And then I wiped one off and then applied the next one and then wiped them off. And my lips felt so hydrated and soft after just, you know, that one moment, where sometimes that can be a lot for lips to be constantly applying and taking stuff off. They're very nourishing and hydrating. I love them and I want like 10 more, okay? So these are my lips of the year so far. We've got the Natasha-Nonna Lipophoria in Coral. We have got the MAC lipstick from their collection that's on my lips right now, the Jimmy Choo, the Patrick Ta, and the two from Fenty, Tang Thang and Bubble Rum. These are the lips of the year so far in my book. So there you have it for this super long video. I hope you hung in there and stayed strong. Thank you so much for joining me. I'd love to know what your standout products are for 2020 so far. I'd love to see what of this is going to make it to the end, the 2020 overall favourites that will come in December. It's exciting. Who can tell? Maybe none of it. You never know what might happen in the second half. Just imagine. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.